Deep breath. Black Oxy. Deep breath. In. Out.
Can I tell you a secret?
Sure, man.
I see white people.
These are parrots that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. Being friendly and being a friend, I think, are two different things. I think there are many whites who act friendly toward Negroes. A fox acts friendly toward the lamb. And usually the fox is the one who ends up with the lamb chop on his plate. The wolf doesn't act friendly, and therefore the wolf has more difficulty in getting the lamb chop in his plate.
I'd like to point out, though, that...
And I say that because it is usually if you study the structure of the Negro community, economically, politically, civically, psychologically, and otherwise, it's controlled by the white liberal, who usually poses as the friend of the Negro, who actually differs from the white conservative in the same way that the fox differs from the wolf. Their appetite is the same. Their motives are the same. It's only their mannerisms and methods that differ.
Welcome back to today's video. Remember, like my video, people. Click the thumbs up on the thing down there and the subscribe and watch and share this video. Hopefully Dan sees it too. I hope he sees it. We'll have a nice discussion. I've noticed this particular channel and apparently I'm noticing it's coming from the mainstream media of South Africa. Dan Corder, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, apologies, but Dan, Mr. Three Beanies, he has a show on ENCA. But now he's been pushed on to my algorithm for some reason. I wonder why. But I'm seeing a lot of his face on my algorithm, even though I'm not subscribed to his channel. But you know what? I might as well look at a video because, you know, they're shoving it down my face.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
So there's an interesting video that really, eventually, I stopped ignoring the algorithm and stopped ignoring it, and I was like, you know what, let me actually look. It's one of his recent videos says, who is South Africa? And in that video, he's basically pointing out he's going to do a series discussing South Africa and the history of South Africa. You know, South Africans don't know South Africa. First opening seconds of his video, I was already going, we're going to have a problem here.
I said, do we have a problem?
Controversial hot take. South Africans don't know South Africa. South Africans don't even, by and large, know enough about recent and old South African history to meaningfully understand what is going on in South Africa today. That is not our fault. I include myself in this. But
firstly, I agree with that. He's very much right. A lot of South Africans don't know history. In fact, only the old South Africans, for the 2000s, who are people born in the 2000s, your grandparents. For me, they'll be more or less parents, maybe your aunts. However, the point is, only the old generation, the Gen Xers, the boomers, know a lot more about South African history than, let's say, your millennials, the Gen Xers, the Gen Alphas, whatever. And I agree, to an extent that it's not our fault, but to another extent, it is our fault. There's a thing called self-responsibility that you have to take, okay? Your school does not teach you proper or give you proper history. I would argue, therefore, it's your responsibility to search it out. And anybody who has studied history, like myself, and anybody who's a history nerd or buff, you would understand that, hey, there's a lot of things that are said. History is written by the victors, and history is always altered to favor a particular group or to victimize a particular group of people or nations or cultures. You really need to not just take the surface level of history, you really need to dive in. And I don't like his phrasing saying, it's not our fault. It's just not our fault. We just don't know. We don't know.
We don't know much about the South. And we can't trust random niggas with things like that, as George so eloquently put it. I'm with him 100% of the way. We don't know what he has.
I was on Trevor Noah's podcast a month or two ago, and we were talking about how so many South Africans don't even know what the TRC is, in spite of the fact that that commission and the decisions around that commission have impacted all of us and what modern South Africa is.
And this is where I have my problem with Dan, Mr. Three Beanies. TRC, in real facts and in real truth, was just a show. It was just a public show, but to claim that it changed, I disagree. It may have changed the aesthetics, which is superficial nonsense of South Africa, and the appearance of forgiving, and the appearance of we are one nation and we all suffered. No. The real truth is TRC is for white South Africa. That is the fact. Every single black person and every single black and brown person in South Africa before 1994 and post 1994 knew exactly the true face of South Africa. Everybody knew that. The majority of the country knew it. The only people who are ignorant is white South Africa. White South Africa has always played ignorance and always played the
I don't know. What? Black people are suffering? No. But my maid, she's so friendly. How is she suffering? She's always smiling when she's by my house. How is this possible?
Yeah.
It's the kind of new
It's
South
very
Africa as a
yeah,
dress,
it's very
really, isn't it?
exciting.
Yeah. Do you think that white people, actually know how black people live now? Do they go to those places?
I think there's a far greater awareness now, definitely.
I would say we know, but we don't go.
Yeah.
You know, you're crazy.
But now
don't go
with the abolishment of apartheid, you find a lot of black people who can afford it have now moved into the so-called white areas, which is fabulous for them.
I must say, a bit difficult to find somebody who supported apartheid. These days, everyone seems to be against it.
Everyone now,
No
because nobody wants to. No, we were all there, and a lot of people supported it at the time. Like I say, I didn't. I always felt uncomfortable.
And the Truth and Reconciliation Commission fundamentally designed and manifested the new South Africa after apartheid. After the election and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was the next most consequential thing for what made modern South Africa.
Wrong.
Dan is well-meaning people. Dan means well, okay? He's one of the good ones. You sound very ignorant. No, Dan, the TRC did not fundamentally construct the new South Africa. CODESA 1 and 2 did that, not TRC. What other points do you have regarding the TRC that prove that it actually did something? Because, like I mentioned, CODESA, the first CODESA and the second CODESA, those are the true reconstruction of South Africa. Now, anybody who studies politics in South Africa and you've really gone in depth, you will know. Fuck the TRC. Like, the TRC, who gives a shit about that? CODESA, however, now we're talking. In fact, if you look at the CODESA, it is the fundamental building blocks of the new South Africa, because it's not really the new South Africa. It's more of old South Africa with a new taint.
I think that it's a great deal of concern that people like de Klerk have tried to avoid the responsibility. I think it's a great deal. It's a tragedy. And once, of course, he took that line, many of his colleagues, you see, also took that line.
Not one military general has applied for amnesty, and not a single judge has come forward. Yet it was the judiciary that gave apartheid a veneer of respectability. Today, many of the same judges are administering the law in the new South Africa.
Reconciliation is not going to a Truth and Reconciliation Commission and publicly apologizing for your sins. It's actually the government introducing measures which will redistribute wealth from those who benefited under apartheid to those who suffered under apartheid. Now that to us would have been what true conciliation is all about. And the failure to do that, I think, has made the whole reconciliation process a bit of a farce.
But how would you get the people who committed those atrocities to come forward and tell you what they did? They wouldn't want to do that. And there was this bind because at the end of it, well, at the beginning of the new South Africa, there was a justified desire to hold people who committed atrocities during apartheid to account and make them face accountability, consequences, and justice. Learn what happened and use that information to properly try to create policies to redress those wrongs, those evils, those injustices. His argument in there.
Answer me this, Dan. Who got persecuted? Who was in place of leadership? I don't know. Let's go back. Was F.W. de Klerk taken for any of his wrongdoings? No, I don't remember. In fact, I think F.W. de Klerk is praised a lot for it. Interesting. He's praised as one of the chief people to help South Africa recover. Yeah, sure. F.W. de Klerk, a hero. Yeah. And what about P.W. Botha? Oh, wait, whoa, look at that. P.W. Botha, what? The man lived off his life and died in peace. In fact, his wife died, he remarried, and still lived his life in peace in the racist part of the country. Interesting. What about his cabinet, his 1985 cabinet? I see none of them. No major big political player or business people prosecuted through the TRC and therefore fundamentally changing. What are your other claims, Dan?
Many people disagreed with the TRC, and many people believed that they should not have done that and it was wrong. And the TRC did not effectively allow Black South Africans and South Africans of color to express their outrage and get justice through whatever prosecutions could have been possible with the public information that was had at the time to at least put some people behind bars. And the TRC was this wild deal. This deal that was struck where South Africa's government decided that we would make this deal and forgive and try to rebuild South Africa and try to make people come together and feel some sense of closure and reckoning and understanding and hopefully heal some wounds to a degree between different race groups. That was the deal that they struck. And that deal is incredibly consequential to what South Africa has become.
The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives. The American Negro is nothing but a political football, and the white liberals control this ball through tricks or tokenism, false promises of integration and civil rights. In this game of deceiving and using the American Negro, the white liberals have complete cooperation of the Negro civil rights leader, who sell our people out for a few crumbs of token recognition, token gains, token progress.
I've seen enough, Dan. I'm not going to continue seeing your video. You are ignorant. You need to do more research, sir. And what's surprising to me is you work for ENCA. You work for a news organization. This is your daily living. You could do research, thoroughly dig deep and really go into the nitty-gritty. And all you have done is superficial nonsense. I don't trust your future videos discussing South African history will actually change anything. You will be regurgitating the mainstream knowledge anyways that is already out there. You, sir, are doing a disservice and you are perpetuating the issue that Malcolm X just keeps on ringing in my ear again and again. Mr. Three Beanies, I know you mean well. I have faith in you. You mean well, sir. But what you're doing and the way you're going about it is maybe out of ignorance. I would argue to you, sir, show me tangibles of the TRC. There's no policy reform. There's no economic reform of any shape or sizes. All it did, like I said, fifis.
Today I feel Qatari. Today I feel Arab. Today I feel African.